I'm a pro procrastinator, and the only time I get motivated is the night before the deadline. And when I tell this to people, oftentimes I get recommended to use a planner. Everyone recommends writing the things down you need to do, put them in an order, block time on your calendar, and don't forget to add a reminder, as if I'm already not doing it. For me, the issue is not planning. It's the following, the schedule part. When I get a calendar notification reminding what I'm supposed to be doing, I notice it, stare at it, sigh, and ignore. For the longest time, I thought it's because I'm lazy and I lack discipline. Whenever I would pull an all-nighter the day before my deadline, I would blame myself for putting myself in a such stressful situation. I would promise myself I will never do it again. But the next day, I get the calendar notification again, notice it, and still procrastinate. And the funny thing is, when I'm procrastinating and running away from my schedule, I'm not doing something fun. The more I repeat this cycle of procrastination, hyper-focusing before deadlines, and then beating myself up, the more I started to question my abilities. I lost confidence in myself and I felt like I was stuck on a treadmill, constantly running but never getting anywhere. And this constant cycle didn't just stress me out, but it also led to burnout. I started to feel like I was wasting my life, my potential, and also my time. And we all know that time is our most valuable asset, right? We all have dreams and goals we want to achieve, but if we keep letting procrastination run the show, those dreams could slip right through our fingers. If you're feeling stuck like I was, it's time to make a change before you find yourself further away from the life you want to live. That's basically when I knew I had to do something about it. I got diagnosed with ADHD, and most of the popular productivity methods just don't work for my chaotic brain. But through the years of trial and error, I finally found a way to fix this issue. And this method allowed me to grow this YouTube channel to 1.4 million subscribers, establish a consistent workout routine, or I used to have it, and make time for my family as well as for my hobbies. Obviously, I'm not a productivity machine, and there are periods of time where I am less consistent than I used to be. But if nothing has worked for you so far, and if you want to take control over your time and stop feeling about yourself, this video can help. Let's start with a problem that many of us face, especially if you have ADHD, and that is time blindness. Time blindness is when you don't have a natural sense of time passing. You might sit down to work on something and then get completely absorbed, and before you know it, hours have slipped by. Or it can be the opposite. You think you've been working on something for hours, but when you check the time, it's been only 10 minutes. And it makes it incredibly difficult to stick a schedule because we're kind of constantly misjudging how long tasks will take. I would plan my thinking I can knock out a project in an hour, and then I would only find myself working on it for 2 hours. And when that happens, the rest of the day just falls apart because they don't match. And this isn't just about poor time management, it's actually more deeper than that. If you don't have an accurate sense of how long things take, your entire schedule can become chaotic because suddenly you're behind your schedule, stressed, and feeling like you have never control over your time. And it's just that ADHD that can cause this. Anyone can struggle with time blindness to some extent. But here's the thing, time blindness is only part of the problem. And another major issue is fluctuating energy levels. Some days you wake up feeling ready to conquer the world, and other days you can barely drag yourself out of bed like I was today. And this fluctuation in energy is a major reason why sticking to a routine can feel impossible. It's not that you're lazy or lack discipline, it's that your energy isn't consistent, and most schedules don't account for that. Traditional time management techniques tell us to break our day into neat little blocks, assuming that we can perform at the same level all day long. But that's just not how it works in reality. This is where a lot of us go wrong, especially me, because we focus so much on managing our time, fitting everything into a calendar, blocking of hours of tasks, setting reminders, that we're going to completely overlook. Time management is important for sure, but it's just a part of the equation. If your energy is low, it doesn't matter how much time you've blocked off for a task, you're not going to get it done efficiently, if at all. Think of it this way. Time is a finite resource, right? Like we all have 24 hours in a day. But energy is dynamic. It like ebbs and flows depending on a variety of factors like how much sleep you got, what you have eaten, your stress levels, and even time of the day. And if we don't pay attention to our energy, we are setting ourselves up for failure. And when we plan our day based purely on time, we're ignoring how our energy levels align with those plans. You might like schedule your most demanding tasks for the morning, thinking you will be fresh and ready to go. But if you're someone whose energy peaks in the afternoon, like me, you're literally setting yourself up for frustration in the morning and potentially burnout by end of the day. Solution for time blindness and energy management. So how do you manage your time when your energy levels are all over the place and you struggle with time blindness? That's where the 2 calendar method comes in, and this is something that I'm a big fan of. Here how it works. Every day you plan out your tasks, estimating how long each one will take and blocking off that time in your calendar. This step alone helps address time blindness because it forces you to make an educated guess about how long something should take. But, and this is the key, you also keep a second calendar where you log what actually happened. And this is your reverse log. Let's say you scheduled a big project for like 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. but you find yourself still working on it at 2 p.m. Or maybe you just like got distracted and didn't even start it until 11 a.m. Either way, you log that to your second calendar. And this visual comparison at the end of the day between what you plan and what actually happened helps you understand where your time is really going. And if you have time blindness, this method is a game changer because over time you will see the patterns in how long things actually versus how long you would thought they would take. This helps you to improve your time estimates, making your future planning more accurate and realistic. The more you do this, the better you get at it. But the benefits don't stop there. This method is also incredibly effective for managing fluctuating energy levels because when you track your time and also with your energy, you start to notice some patterns. At the end of each day, take a few minutes just to reflect back, okay? Look at your reverse log and look at your estimated calendar and ask yourself when you felt the most productive during the day. When did you struggle? And whether you hit at a wall at any point or whether you had a burst of energy that you didn't expect. And over time, you will start to see some patterns. Maybe you find that you're consistently more productive in the morning or that you hit a slump after lunch. Once you identify these patterns, you can start aligning your most demanding tasks with your peak energy periods and save the easier stuff for whenever you're feeling low. And if you want to dig even deeper, you can track other factors that might influence your energy levels, like what you ate, how much sleep you got, or whether you exercise. These can all play a big role in how you feel throughout the day. By paying attention to those details, you basically get a clear picture of what works best for you. And I think this method also helps a lot with perfectionism. Instead of beating yourself up in writing a rest of the day, the 2 calendar method really encourages you to observe and learn because you start to see your day as a series of adjustments rather than a rigid plan you have to follow perfectly. There is another big challenge that can mess with your schedule, which is feeling overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed a lot. When you got a long list of tasks staring back at you, it's really easy to feel where you don't even know where to start. And when that happens, my brain literally freezes up. I end up doing nothing or I get distracted by the things that really don't matter. And it's quite common, especially if you have ADHD, and it's called analysis paralysis, where you got so much on your plate that you can't even make a decision. You're stuck because every task feels urgent and important, and it's really hard to figure out what to do first. The key to breaking out of this overwhelm is learning how to prioritize. When you know what's most important, it's a lot easier to focus on and let go of the less important stuff. But to be honest, prioritizing can be quite difficult, especially when everything feels like it needs to get done right now. I've tried a bunch of apps and methods, but came into conclusion that Emplanote is best at prioritizing tasks to allow creating a flexible schedule match to my energy levels. Emplanote unites your to-do list, notes, habits, and a calendar in a single app with a twist that I've never seen before called Task Score. When I discovered the Task Score tool and how it works really well with ADHD, I approached them to ask if they would sponsor this video, and thankfully they agreed. And I'm really glad they did because because it's genuinely a game changer. And here how task score works. Imagine you got a bunch of tasks to do, but you're not really sure which one to start, right? Task score helps you out by looking at a few things. First, it considers how often you are opening a task's note. If you keep coming back to it, task score bumps it up the list because it's clearly on your mind. And next, it looks at the urgency and importance. If something is urgent, like it needs to get done in the next couple of days, it's going to score higher. And if it's important, meaning it aligns with your goals, it will score even higher. This way, the stuff that really matters isn't buried under less important tasks. But it also doesn't stop there. If a task has a deadline, or if it's holding up another task, it gets an extra boost. This makes sure that time-sensitive tasks and blockers don't get ignored. And it all does it without you thinking about it. It sounds complicated, but it does it for you, so you don't have to worry about it. If you're used to traditional to-do lists, you probably know like they can get quite overwhelming fast. And tasks that aren't immediately handed often sink to the bottom and you forget about it. But with task score, your list is always evolving. The most relevant tasks rise to the top, and you can easily snooze or dismiss tasks that don't need your attention right now. One of the big problems with classic to-do lists is that they don't differentiate between what's new, what's urgent, and what's important. Everything kind of like gets jumbled together, and it's really easy to get stuck working on recent tasks that aren't the most important. Even if you don't use Amplinote, you can apply this idea to your own system. Whenever you are prioritizing, try to focus on tasks that are urgent or aligned with your goals. And don't be afraid to let go of tasks that are no longer relevant. We need to say no. If you're someone who struggles with ADHD like I do, or if you just find it hard to stay on top of everything, Amplinote is hands down best app out there for prioritizing your tasks and getting organized. So if you're looking for a tool that can help you manage your time, energy, and priorities, and especially if you have tried other apps and they just didn't like stick with you, give Amplinote a try. It's made a huge difference for me, and I think it could do the same for you. Remember, following a schedule isn't about being perfect, but it's about finding a system that works for you and helps you get a little better every day. And with the right tools and the right mindset, you can take control of your time, reduce overwhelm, and start making real progress towards your goal. If you're interested in how you can get better at managing your time without relying on discipline and motivation, check out my free email newsletter that I send every single Friday. And if you want to learn more about why most productivity advice don't work for you and how you combat them, you need to check out this video.